What's up, guys? This is Coach Grant with First Down Training, and today we're going to be breaking down a move off the line that all DBs cannot guard. So I hope this video helps you guys out. Hope it could teach you a few new things, but also, fellas, if you are a wide receiver and you guys would like a daily gym and on-field workout schedule to follow with the exact sets, reps, drills, gym exercises to do, check out that very first link in the description below for our ultimate 8-week wide receiver workout plan. Guys, it's 8 weeks of just complete daily training schedule with all the gym stuff you should do with sets and reps, field stuff you should do with sets and reps, and we give you an example of each on-field drill to do. So check out that very first link in the description below. Again, let's get started with this video. So the release we're going to be discussing today is going to be something called a split release, but we're going to be putting a little bit more of an advanced twist on it with this first example. So a split release is pretty much exactly how it sounds if you're not familiar with a split release, but this is a more advanced release that we really have not gone over on this channel. So split release is where your front foot goes out and your back foot goes straight up. So you're essentially splitting your feet. Now, the goal of this release is to try to freeze the DB or to get him to show his hand. So like, let's say, for example, you got a DB like in this case where he's in head up press. You would split your feet to try to kind of like freeze him or to have him show his leverage. So like, let's say he's trying to disguise that he's playing to the inside. So you do that split release, you come to balance, you have some twitch with your feet. He jumps to the inside. That lets us know we can take that outside release or jab to the inside and attack his leverage. But we have to come to balance. So let's watch how this wide receiver plays this thing full speed. So he comes out here. Now he's doing something called a kick step split release. So this is combining two different moves that we normally work. So what's a kick step for those of you that don't know? A kick step is where you take this back foot, right? So in this case, this wide receiver has a stance switch, which is fine if you guys are, your offense requires a stance switch for, timing on a play. Sometimes offenses will have wide receivers split their feet so they can run like a 2-step slant and maybe the outside receiver's running like a 5-step post just for timing purposes, right? And sometimes guys will switch their feet against press to throw off a DB or to maybe work a move like a kick step. So it times up with their release, I guess. It's a comfortable release for them. So obviously a kick step is where you take this back foot and you kick behind your front foot. Now, it's got to be the quickest, there's got to be the most twitch that you can possibly do with that back foot for this to work. It's got to be a quick kick behind your foot. Now, a lot of people think that, oh, this is a false step. Like you shouldn't be doing this. It's going to screw up the timing. It's going to screw up the timing of the route. When it's against press coverage, this is a part of the release. So it's not going to screw up timing. Yeah, if you got a safety who's, 10 to 12 yards off and you do this kick step behind, then get up into your route when you don't have to do a press release, that's when I would consider it a false step. But this move right here is solely to generate explosion and quickness and to load up your hips so we could have a little bit more twitch and sell the route with my hips. Now, some of you might be thinking like, why would a kick step even do that? I highly recommend you try this. Just try it, see how it feels. You by no means do you have to do this. I just feel this is like the next step up on a split release, because when you guys kick behind, obviously it gives you some quickness, it gives you some like kind of quick twitch to the movement, and that will help your split release be a little bit more sudden and explosive. And the split release has to be sudden and explosive. When you guys split your feet and you get into this wide position, now, by no means do you have to be this wide. I actually probably would coach this receiver up to say, keep your feet a little bit more inside your frame, not be super wide, because I feel like when you're super wide like this, you can't really explode. I would say a good place to be is maybe just outside your shoulders, but you see the difference of twitch that this guy has rather than just a regular split release because he uses that kick step. So you kick with the back foot, then you split right, then you go right into that split release. Now, the thing about that split release, the reason why I like it is because it's a great way to freeze the DB, like we said, because your feet are literally splitting. So it's great to force a reaction out of this guy, but you can also react either way. Like I said, you split so we can freeze the DB, but also we can get a read on what he's trying to do. So since he got to this balanced position and he got both feet in the grass at the exact same time, that's the key. You have to make sure that both feet land at the exact same time. So many guys will do this split release and they'll go right, left, and then they get out of the route or get out of the release, I should say, and it's very rushed. It's not like there's no split second where you hesitate. Both cleats have to hit the grass, because when both cleats are in the grass, you can react to this DB. Because if this wide receiver is running a slant, if this DB jumps to the outside, we could just take it and go run the slant. But if we do this split release and this DB jumps to the inside, because I'm in a position of balance, that's no big deal. I could just throw a jab with my inside foot, go to the outside, maybe do a diamond release to get him to slip under, or maybe I could just do this like, let's say it's a fade route. and he jumps to the inside like this, I could just push and go run the fade and convert the route to a fade if needed. Right? It's because of that split that he's allowed to do that. He's allowed to react, and he's allowed to take either an inside or an outside release. Now, this route's a little bit unique because it's a one-step slant. He's just going. But if you had to run a route like, let's say, a dig, where you could do an inside or outside release, and you do this split, and this DB jumps to the outside, you just take the inside release and go. This DB jumps to the inside because you're balanced and because your feet had some quick twitch to it. That forces more of a reaction out of the DB, and we can leave him to the outside. So let's play this thing again, full speed one more time, then we'll look at some more examples of this split release and why it is a great release to use. So now, the reason why I also like this split release is it's great against a head-up press coverage DB. So we talk a lot on this channel about attacking leverages, right? So like we got a DB who's inside leverage, for example, and like let's say you have to run a post route. So what we would say to do is like, okay, you want to attack the DB to the inside, get him to move, take the outside release, and then cut over the middle. Because he's not going to give up the inside when he's inside leverage. So what do you do if you come up to the line and you see a DB who's lined up in head-up press? So that's where that split release could come to play, because you could go either way. When he's in head-up press, he's got one of three options. He's either going to sit there, and that gives us a free release, or he's either going to jump to the outside, which gives us the inside release, or he's going to jump to the inside, which obviously gives us the outside release. So let's watch what Justin Jefferson does here. This DB's in head-up press. He just kind of sits there, and it's just an easy take of the inside to run this drag and to be able to get separation over the middle. So reason why, again, he does this release is just in case this DB jumps to the inside, jumps to the outside, disguises his leverage, but it also is a way to kind of freeze him, get this DB's feet to stop. Because if we can get this DB's feet to stop and press, that should make it real easy for us to leave him over the middle or to leave him to the outside. So let's watch Jefferson's feet here. Watch his front foot. His front foot goes out, and his back foot comes up. He comes to a position of balance. This is, I would say, perfect technique on a split release. Feet are just outside his shoulders. He's got a good knee bend. He's in a good pad level position. This is where every wide receiver should try to get on their split. Both feet hit the grass at the same time, and we are in a balanced, explosive position. Now, another thing I want to talk to you about with this split release. This is a great release to use when maybe this DB is not giving us a whole lot of space, right? Because like if you have this type of coverage where the DB is off and there's maybe, a yard or two of space, and let's say this route isn't like a drag route. Let's say Justin Jefferson has to get more vertical on his route. Let's say he's running like a back of the end zone dig, and he does this split release, but there's this kind of like cushion between him and the DB. If he just tries to run around the DB, this DB is going to be able to get hands and reroute him off this thing because there's too much of a cushion between the two of them, right? It's easy on a drag route. We want that cushion on a drag because I could just go. But if I have to push vertical off of this split release, what he should do is give him another move, close the space, get into his toes, so it makes it easier to stack and get skinny on the route rather than try to run away and allow this DB to cut you off. Now, like I was mentioning, I like this split release because when that DB isn't giving us cushion, it's a way to make him miss laterally. Because think about it. Let's say we have no room. Let's say instead of here, this DB is lined up right on the line of scrimmage. You could use this split release and give him a move to the outside, make him miss, and not have to close the distance and almost run into him. Essentially, the distance is already closed. Sometimes you don't want to always attack vertical on a DB. Sometimes you have to make him miss lateral when he's not giving us any room to attack vertical. It's rare, I would say, in a game situation when you have, full pads on, you don't see that as much. But if you're in a situation where it's 1-on-1s, 7-on-7, and you get that unrealistic press, that split release is great to use. But again, like we mentioned, when you do that split release and when it's that press up right on the line of scrimmage, you have to get to the position Jefferson has right here, where he's not exposing his chest and he's maintaining a strong position. A lot of wide receivers will do this split release, but instead of their chest almost like coming forward like Jefferson's does, they stand straight up. They expose their number. And that is an easy jam for this DB to get hands on us and to knock us completely off this route. So remember, both feet hit the grass. We come to balance. We get to an explosive spot. Think of it like you got to keep your head under a small door. Let's not pop up, and make sure we know the correct situation to use this release. Let's play this again, full speed one more time. There's a great job here by Jefferson. Again, that's when you would use a split release. That's kind of the technique behind it and the mindset behind it. And remember, that kick step split release is just a little bit more of an advanced way to use this to get more quick twitch and speed to this move. All right, fellas, I really want to thank you for watching. I really appreciate it. If you guys have any questions at all, don't hesitate to leave those in the comment section below. Always appreciate the feedback. It's always great to hear from you guys. And again, fellas, if you guys would like a full 8-week wide receiver gym and field workout schedule, everything that wide receivers can do in the gym and on the field, all broken down with sets and reps, check out that very first link in the description below. We'd love to get you on that. I'll see you guys next time.